Hello and welcome back to Hoi 4, Equestria at War, Hippogriffia under Queen Novo. Well, at the moment it's under Queen Novo. I have a feeling that's not gonna last very much longer. Just a random feeling. I don't know what's telling me that, you know? What's this? Song of the Deep. The capital had been taken hours ago. Fighting had been fierce and bloody, for while the cultists vastly outnumbered those still remaining, they did not have the weaponry or the skill that the royal guard of the palace did. But still, eventually the numbers won out, as our masses pushed forward endlessly, taking Mount Ares hall by hall, room by room. Each of our loyalists fought to their last breath, for our cause was great, greater than any other on Hippogriffia. The throne room itself was the last holdout of resistance, but even that was overrun when the masses made a concentrated push at once. Queen Novo was captured relatively unharmed and is currently behind, held captive. But unfortunately, Princess Skystar is nowhere to be found. We believe she escaped long before our assault began, though where we are unsure of yet. We must find her. But that does not matter now. Nothing does, except what is to come. We have waited far too long for this moment. The doors open and our masters float towards the throne we've killed and died for. Bowing down. Their tails and fins swishing in the open air. We all bow our heads to the floor. The teal one looked excited and giddy, while the pink one simply looked annoyed at the former. The yellow one just smirks, and by compulsion we rise once more, staring blankly at the three red gems inlaid in their chests glow. Our task is complete. Now it is time for the whole world to hear their song as well. Let the new age begin. Stupid kingdom of Zumidia gains independence from that, which, you know, they don't deserve it, obviously. I mean, no nation other than us deserves to have any nation, so why should they have a nation, right? Yeah. They should really just not be a nation. They should just be under me. I think they'd be much better off that way. Yep. Pretty sure. Pretty sure. Alright, boom, boom, boom. Good. Okay. Good. Alright, I'm gonna turn off those for now. The magic of music. A siren is a powerful creature indeed, able to enthrall any other into serving its bidding, from mere conflict to full control. Unfortunately, we, like any other creature, have our limits, and our moves must be chosen carefully. Our magic to keep the country stable and under our control is only through our magic, which can be amassed and expended towards different goals and parts of the nation. However, our power comes from the sowing discord and strife in lesser creatures from the shadows, not direct control over their every action. This means we must balance the need of discipline and loyalty within the sectors of the nation with the need to maintain our spell. Event choices, focus, and decisions will all affect both our magic and our flow of it. If our magic should ever run out completely, we will face dire consequences. Adego Dazzle. Since recorded history, even before the time of the princesses of Equestria, when monsters ruled and cowed the native ponies, the sirens have existed in this world. A group of three, they traveled the land, spreading fear and hatred with their magical voices, plunging Equestria into further disharmony, and feeding off the negative energy that followed. Only the creation of the legendary Pillars of Harmony were able to defeat them, tricking the trio into banishment at the bottom of the Mariana Trench, far below the ocean waves for over 1,000 years. Adagio Dazzle is the leader of the three sirens, and for good reason. Even without magic, her voice carries with it a stunning amount of charisma, and her elaborate plans are both long and rarely ever fail. Yet despite that, she is extremely egotistical and controlling, even compared to her fellow sirens, and believes that only she can lead the three to their rightful places as the masters of the entire world. Adiego believes everything can be solved using their magic and their voices, a sentiment not exactly shared with her partner. She sees Arya as too distracted by her what-ifs. Hey, an alternate history writer. I love that too. Oh, what? I don't know. And a constant annoyance due to her constant fights with Seneta, who she sees as a loose cannon at best and an active hindrance at worst. Still, she works with them as for a shared dream and her birthright, for everyone in this world to adore her. Oh. Takeover of Hippogriffia. The world stands in shock and terror today, for the once harmonic nation of Hippogriffia has come under the control of creatures many historians are referring to as Sirens. The reports are still scarce. It appears that the native population of hippogriffs and sea ponies are being held in check through mind control, projected through the voices of their new masters. 3 Sirens have already sworn vengeance against Equestria, who originally banished them from their existence according to ancient texts. However, they make good on these threats is yet to be seen, however. Soon the whole world will bow before us. And we lose a whole bunch of things. All of that's gone. Good. We've got the music! 3. In all our time, the only Sirens we have ever known have been ourselves. And now it is us against the entire world. So we work together against them, our song playing above all else. Because only we have the music to rule all. And if our partnership means we have to listen to each other now and again, so be it. The second revolution's over. Arabia's having their fun, in quotation marks. The Equestrian Republic went up there. I'll be back for you, eventually. We also now have Siren magic. Our magic is an essential part of our rule, and we can use it for many things in our realm. However, it will take a toll on us, and running out of magic will be a fate far worse than just our powers faltering. The sound of my voice. A voice is a Siren's very being, the core of who they are, and what they do. Such a talent proved unmatched before our banishment, and it remains so today. Is there no better reason for our inherent right to rule the world and all the pathetic creatures on it? We are only giving them what they deserve, a taste of our beautiful song. Aw, that's nice, right? Music is always a good thing. Everyone loves music. Don't you? Don't you guys love music? Oh, they've just gone with the guy that goes straight under them. Whatever. Destiny. It was a disgrace. Truly, there was no better word to describe it. Over 1,000 years, and the world had already all but forgotten about them. About her. They thought themselves more advanced just from their new toys, but Adagio could see through it all. Magic still ruled. Magic always ruled, and she was the one who was supposed to rule with it. The song she sang was meant to be listened by all, for her to be adored, for crowds to cheer for her as they listened to her every command. She was meant to rule. But that was not what had happened. Her destiny, her birthright, had been taken by fools. Ponies who thought themselves above the natural order. Her banishment was a travesty, locked away to be passed into legend, as creatures far weaker thought they could control destiny. Destiny does not change, though. It is only delayed. They could not take away her voice, the gift all 3 of them possessed. Of course, Area was right about one thing. None of them were ready to simply take their place as the center stage of the world. There were still more subjects to enthrall to, more power to gain, more songs to sing. Soon, however, she would make her triumph return to Equestria. Plans would come to fruition, and all would see her and rejoice. All it would take was a little patience, and Agdio was very patient. The Siren Song. The effects of her voices and her song is magical in nature, causing creatures to argue and fight with each other. That strife generates a magical energy we can feed on to further use our magic. The more creatures in our spell, the more magic we gain. I'm gaining magic quite quickly at the moment. The Siren Constant. Having to manage every single affair on the island is tiring and ultimately a waste of a Siren's ability, but keeping one to absolute loyalty usually has negative effects on their capability to manage said affairs. What I need is someone new, someone else who can deal with the trivial issues in our stead, while being loyal without a song or magic. True. Old enemies. Adago was still visibly seething in anger when Arya and Senato rushed into the throne room, having been urgently called there. "What is it, Adio?" I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, to be honest. Senato asked. I'm pretty sure these are like music terms, but I don't know music terms. I know Sonata is, I think. Might be even be wrong about that, but I don't care. Beating her fellow sirens in the punch. "They're still alive," Adigogo replied bitterly. Sonato blinked. "Who?" "Star Swirl and those pillars of Equestria." Arya's expression immediately shifted from standard boredom into rage, similar to that of Adigogo, while Sonato just gave a shriek and tried hiding under a nearby table. "They aren't here, are they?" she asked. "I don't want to be banished again, not so soon after we got out." Sonato's antics were enough to shake Arya out of her anger, making the purple sirens roll her eyes. "Of course they aren't here, Sonata. We'd have noticed them by now if they were." She turned her attention back to Adigogo. But we can't just let them get away with what they did either." Adigogo, in a rare moment of agreement, nodded. "No, we can't. I don't know how they're still alive all this time, but they have to pay for our banishment. I've tracked one of the pillars to Mare Egypt. The others seem to be in Equestria, though I've not found Star Swirl yet. But I don't care what it takes. We will have our revenge and nothing is going to stop it." "We'll do it together. Together!" Sonato reaffirmed, sliding out from under the table with a semi-serious expression. A very rare sight for the normally bubbly siren. The trio looked at each other once more before nodding. This time, it's personal. Alright. Boy. Oh. I understood there, well, some war is happening. Whoa. Carthaginian Republic? That quickly? What? It's like been a year. Okay. Well, I don't know what to do about that. I don't have anything for a war. Hopefully they're just bluffing. Yes, that's it. They're bluffing. Another partner? We need another member in our group. Both Aria and Sonata looked up in surprise. A fourth? We both know there aren't any others left, Adiago. What do you mean, another member? Aria asked, a bit of curiosity seeping into her normally flat tone. Adiago just rolled her eyes. I wasn't talking about another siren. Doing everything ourselves is just wasting our time and our voices. We need someone to do the dirty work for us. Manage affairs while we look at the bigger picture. Sonata picked up a bit before her expression quickly deflated. But everyone here hates us. Who would even want to help without being under our spell? Sonata has a point, Aria agreed, for once. Hey! As the two devolved into yet another argument, Adiago looked out the window from the palace. The city of Mount Ares spread before her, the clueless hippogriffs walking and arguing in the streets, and further away the factories continued to work, along with the housing where the wealthy elite still lived. Adiago smirked. Perhaps the world wasn't so different as it once was after all. I have an idea. The collaborator. Plumage Moonfeather had faced many things in his life. Rival business interests, workers' profit margins, and even the former Hippogriffian government. He knew how to play the game and how to play it well. And that was how he had thrived and become one of the richest birds in Ares. And yet nothing could have possibly prepared him for the situation he was now found himself in. You want me to do what now? He asked, the slightest tinge of fear creeping in as the three sirens stared him down. He felt the urge to take a step back. Showing weakness was never a good thing. It's quite simple, the siren yellow said. We want a hippogriff who can run parts of the island in our stead while we focus on other things. We believe that you can be that hippogriff. The gears in Moonfeather's mind began turning, and then he realized it. This wasn't a meeting for threats and violence, or even being forced into compliance. This was something much better. It was a business opportunity. And I get to have full control over Ares just for working for you? He asked, putting on the suave business look he was known for. You'll be able to do whatever you want, so long as it also benefits us and keeps this place stable. Grease the gears, so to speak. But let me make it something clear. Within seconds, the siren was muzzled to beak against Moonfeather, staring daggers. You listen to us. You follow orders whenever we say them. And if you fail, we will not hesitate to throw you out and let the crowds deal with you instead. Is that clear? Moonfeather quickly nodded, clear as crystal. He will be a useful pawn. Add Plumage Moonfeather. Alright, nice. You are an advisor now. I'm glad to have you here. The Collaboration Corps. Despite their surprising Okay, let's get something here. Yeah. Despite the surprisingly competent work that our new constant has done, he is only one hippogriff. With that in mind, he has requested permission to create his own group of non-enthralled lackeys, which he promises he will be able to keep in line with more standard threats and uses of force. As long as it does not bother us, we see no problem with this. And this just brings my supremacy support more and more up. Alright. Collaboration Corps. Led by Plumage Moonfeather, and informally known as the Corporation Corps. This group of unenthralled but loyal hippogriffs help keep order on Hippogriffia, as well as enforcing plumage and by extension our will on the populace. In the factories, sometimes change was imperceptible. It happened slowly, gradually, until by the time you realized things were different, that they were worse. It was impossible to tell when it had started and when it had ended. In this case, though, it was very obvious when everything had gone so wrong. The day after prominent business griff Plumage Moonfeather had formalized his group, the Collaborators, the factory that Cloudy Seas had worked at for years now had instituted new regulations that were supposed to improve efficiency at the workplace. And they did, in a way, by forcing him and all the other hippogriffs to work twice as hard and extending their shifts for hours past what they originally were. There was very little doubt that the new armed guards stationed around the factory were there to dissuade any thoughts of protest against these new changes. Cloudy and the other workers saw them as nothing more than thugs, hired guns, only there to suppress and take their paychecks from their rich employers. He hated them. He hated his manager. He hated the corporation owner. And most importantly, he hated Plumage Moonfeather. All of them were to blame with his new miserable life. All of them were causing him this pain and suffering. He hated his co-workers, who were clearly being as lazy as possible just so he had to do more work to cover for them, and his own quotas. He could tell they hated him too. He could see the looks in their faces, the anger whenever they saw his face. Hippogriffs he once called friends, now saying his name like it was poison. It wasn't fair. It just wasn't fair at all. The Sirens had clearly never meant for this to happen. They must have expected Plumage to try and manage things well, to be reasonable. After all, they were the ones who were just better by nature. They were guardians away for all of Ares, but Plumage had taken their trust and used it for personal profit and nothing else. He was greedy, immortal, and downright evil. If Cloudy Seas ever saw him in person, well, he couldn't be blamed for what he would do. Till then, though, he could only sigh and get back to work. It's all that damn business griff's fault. Good, good. Take our blame for us. Good. We have done much already, but we are still only 3 Sirens. We cannot be everywhere at once, and enthralling entire populations would prove troublesome, to say the least. Fortunately, I have thought of an excellent solution involving those magical crystals under the capital. Who says we have to be the only ones that can sing to a crowd? All right. I'm interested. I'm interested. Also, Nova Griffonia apparently annexed some stuff. They're in a civil war. Prywin's fighting their neighbors both at once. Oh, the Disciples of the Night won down here. The Dawning. When it came to speeches and ceremonies, none of the 3 Sirens had much experience in leading such events. Singing in concerts, yes. They were unmatched in all the world, but they were no politicians or military leaders. Such trivial things were for those who did not have the magic of the Sirens' music. In this particular case, though, Diego had insisted on some sort of grand event for the culmination of all the hard work the 3 had put in over the past month. So deep in the royal palace, in a circular room decorated specifically for the occasion, the 3 floated among those chosen to receive the gift. There was less than both Aria and Diego would have preferred. The hippogriffs who stood in line before them, blankly enthralled, only numbered in the lower tens, easily countable by a child, but they were the best that this island had to offer. Former leaders, organizers, people with power, they would serve their new rule well, and if the need arose, then more could always be made. One last hippogriff entered the room at Diego's silent command. In a claw, he held simple necklaces, one for each of the creatures in line. Hanging at the bottom was a blood-red gem, identical in color to the ones inlaid within the Sirens themselves. These, however, were nowhere near the size, only appearing as mere silver slivers of crystal. It had taken the 3 considerable effort to create such artifacts. The magical crystals mined beneath Mount Ares had the potential, but the method used to turn them into siren gems were tiring. Still, they were not deterred. Even Sonata, who had actually shown some surprising talent in the process despite failing with explosive results the first 7 attempts. You have all been chosen, gifted with the fragment of our power to bind lesser creatures under her spell. Do not waste it, for the amulet you now wear is your life now. Go sing, as is your new purpose. Let yourself be a reflection of the new glory and rolled that we shall bring. They all bowed before walking out to fulfill their duty. Beacons of music. Though small in number due to material constraints, the creatures informally known as beacons are amplifying our song through their own voices, allowing us to keep our magic spread and saturated throughout our land. Alright, I think I'm good over for this stuff. Okay. Alright. Unity and strife. In a nondescript building somewhere in Hippogriffia, 3 figures sat around a table. The first was Crack Lightning, the nationalist firebrand of Ares First. The second was Posita, charismatic leader of Revolutionary Workers' Party. Lastly, there was Princess Skystar, Queen Nova's daughter and heir apparent. Crack was the first to speak. I'll admit, Princess, when I received your invitation to discuss uniting our resistance networks, I was open to the idea. But if I had known that unreliable, nutty communist was going to be here, I would have stayed home. Posita immediately shot back. As if I'm happy to see you, you unabashed racist. You become such a reactionary, I'm surprised you even led a resistance. As the two continued to trade insults, Skystar's face contorted with frustration. Eventually, her patience wore out, and she yelled as loud as she could. Stop! Stop! You have to stop. Can't you see this is exactly what the Sirens want? It doesn't matter what ideology you prefer if there's no one left to support it. They've taken our friends, our relatives even. She choked on her words. Even my mother. And here, you are wasting our time with stupid arguments. Posita and Crack were stunned with silence. Skystar continued, calmer now. I managed to send a messenger out to find the elements of harmony, but I need help keeping the resistance alive until they arrive. I thought you two could be of that help. I heard you were friends once, so I was hoping you'd be willing to work together. Both guests sat still, considering what the princess had said. A moment later, Posita looked up. Hey, Crack. Remember the first time we met, and how we talked for hours about the battle with the Storm King? Crack's expression softened. Heh. Of course I remember. I see where you're going. It's time to save Hippogriffia once again. Posita smiled. Yes. But this time, let's do it together. This may be a problem. And yeah, they're making an anti-Siren resistance group. That's great. The Arisen Resistance. The Ares Resistance is a group of hippogriffs from all parts of life, aligned in one common interest, the overthrow of us and the reinstation of Hippogriffia. Until it is completely crushed, it will continue to be a thorn in our side in every way. And actually, I'm going to stop this for now. And, the Rising Resistance. Because this... yeah. The Hippogriffs may no longer be in power, but they are not done fighting yet. Even now, they plot from their shadows, seeking to overthrow our rule. As a thorn in our sides... ending these games once and for all should be our highest priority. Okay, whatever. But I think this is a good time to go ahead and end this episode. I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, like, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell button. And as always, peace.